Hey everyone, it is Ian and Kimberly Rhodes, excited to bring to you our limited series called Impact.
We are so fortunate to be able to speak to some really incredible people locally here in Los Angeles and throughout the nation, different thought leaders, all with different professions.
Yeah, and we're asking them those tough questions during COVID-19, just what is challenging them? How are those challenges having them step up in their businesses and personal lives to pivot for success and give you tips and tricks?
We hope you enjoy today's interview.
All right, hello everybody. We are very excited because today we are talking to Lien. She is the owner of a fabulous new restaurant that just opened right after Thanksgiving of 2019, All Day Baby in Silver Lake. And Lien, I'm going to let you take it away and you tell us who you are and a little bit about the restaurant and what you do.
Of course. So thank you so much for taking the time. I opened this restaurant with my chef partner, Jonathan Whitener, November 29th of 2019. We had already owned another restaurant called Here's Looking at You. It's located in Koreatown, and that restaurant has been around for, this summer will be 4 years. And we were so excited to come to Silver Lake and bring people sort of daytime fare, sort of reignite what we love about diners and the classicity of it, but sort of bring about modernness to that, and obviously add a cocktail bar and just really make it joyful and with an emphasis on service, and because it's a huge passion of mine, just customers and really getting to know our guests. We have a wonderful extensive pastry program put together by my pastry chef, Tessa Diadem. We started with breakfast and lunch hours to start, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., 7 days a week. And then just before the shutdown, we had just extended our hours into all day hours, but apparently that means dinner too. So we opened all the way until 10 or 11 p.m. depending on the day. But we had only, I think, successfully done maybe 10 of those services before we were mandated to close on March 15th.
Wow. So you were just ramping up at that time.
Yes, we were just ramping up. We'd only been in business for about 3.5 months. It was really challenging. It's challenging, period. I don't even think I need to say more than that, but it was very challenging to obviously be a new restaurant, master, I guess, daytime, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., have, we had like 65 people on staff. I mean, a lot of them are part-time, but to find even more additional people to extend those hours was really difficult. And so we finally got there, and then, like I said, we had to close.
So because everything over the past months and weeks and days has been changing hour by hour, what has impacted you and what have you guys done to kind of pivot your business into being open and still doing business?
I mean, it's mainly impacted, I don't think I'm special, but it's impacted us financially.
Yeah.
We definitely had not accumulated some massive nest egg, not that restaurants do that anyways, but just due to the nature of how restaurants work financially, there was no possibility of being able to keep all of our staff on and hope that there would be business. I mean, the truth is that there would not be business. And Chef and I knew that right away, that very night on the 15th, and we had to make the extremely difficult, probably the most difficult decision I've ever made in my career, which was to furlough our whole staff, which does include the both of us as well. So none of us have been getting paid. At that point, I still owed that last week of work as far as payroll to my staff, and that seemed at the time one of the worst challenges of my life, like to figure out how we were going to find 50 grand to fund this last week of payroll, because it's obviously salaries, hourlies, their tips that they had accumulated. And the way restaurants work is that you're essentially paying last month's invoices today, and so it's a fluid operation, and you need sales, you need business, you need customers, and you need what you're expected what you have projected that you believe you'll do, which is a few hundred people a day or whatever it is. And when that gets down to 0 people, I mean, it's a business model that's no longer going to work. So right after all of that, we decided that night that we would sort of host a one day only fire sale. We called it a pop-up bodega. We essentially accumulated all the produce and product and eggs, frozen meats, anything that we had from both restaurants, and we brought it all to All Day Baby. And this was just on Tuesday the 17th. And we had people.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
March 17th?
Yeah, 2 days after
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
2 days after the. So it was actually written about in the Los Angeles Times the next day, because the restaurant critic had also come to that bodega. It was a little hard just because, at that point, it was not like we had a lot of time to think about how guests were going to come in safely, social distance and all of that. And we did not know if people were going to come at all, but the appeal to come was actually quite high. So we had people 6 feet apart lined up outside of the restaurant for the majority of that time. And we only had, I think, like 5 people in here at a time, and they were walking with each of my volunteer staff members going through the market and, writing everything down. And it's not like we had this amazing system to figure things out, but it went quite smoothly. And I think that the restaurant critic, his name is Bill Addison, I think he came because he had just reviewed us. We were the last review in the Sunday paper, All Day Baby. So he had reviewed us on the 15th. And a business like mine or restaurants, it's a huge honor to be reviewed in the newspaper. And, if they do a review every week, there's 52 reviews. It's split between 2 critics. Like it was an extreme honor, and it can really help drive business, because I think the restaurant was doing okay. And on the weekends, we were fortunate to be very busy for brunch. But we still needed more business, and you rely on a great review. I mean, this is like old news, I'm sure, to most people, but you rely on a great review and you hope that it will generate more people and entice more people to come. So it's really sad that the review came out on the day that we closed.
Yeah, that is a loss of momentum for sure, but it sounds like you took the right position and at least get set up the grocery idea of that. And then how quickly did you implement, okay, we're going to cut this menu to this, specific takeout menu? How did you plan from there to know that this could be a 4, 8, 12, who knows, into the weeks ahead, how long this may continue to stay alive and work?
Right. I mean, the bodega, I think, was a good idea because, and the reason why we did it was we needed fast cash. Like I said, we needed to figure out a way to pay our 65 or 100 employees, if we're counting both restaurants. We did not believe that just immediately transitioning to full takeout for either restaurant was a good plan. You're being scared into believing that you cannot leave your house. And not that is not the truth, but why in the world would anyone go out and then get takeout? So I know a lot of restaurants, they did do that right away, and some are successful and continue to be that way. But sometimes it's foods that you're conditioned to know right away that is what you order for delivery, like pizza or Thai food, and like those restaurants, I hope to God they're doing great, but it's just like, they're not going to think about the Japanese izakaya as like the first thing that they're craving, and I'm allowed to order to go. I'm going to spend $100 on that, etc. And same with our restaurant. We had conditioned minds to understand that we were a family kind of restaurant, or great for young people, fun, convivial, like you're supposed to be here. And so you're just not going to think like, All Day Baby, I'm going to do takeout. So I think after the quote unquote success of the bodega, I mean, it was very bittersweet. It's awful to watch your restaurant be going out in that way. Product that you're not expecting. You're not supposed to sell it that way. It's not. I'm not supposed to sell you bundles of cilantro. And so it was very sad as well. But then, we still, the next day, we were like, well, what else should we do? How are we going to generate money? besides just hoping for it. And so I thought of this idea that, you know, what is the one thing, if I had to select off our menu, that is a guest cannot live without it, or it had that appeal that could generate the need to get out of their house and go and buy. And I decided that it was going to be our biscuit sandwich, which had gotten like a really beautiful photograph, really nice and big, in the Times Review that had come out on Sunday. It features the biscuit, which was created by my pastry chef. And the biscuits itself are just phenomenal, but then the sandwich too. There's a second sandwich. It's just, it's called the Big Chicken Sandwich, and it's just fried chicken on the biscuit with a side of pickles. So anyway, we decided, let's have a biscuit window. You know, what product is still left in the restaurant? We do need to get rid of it. What can we really create? You know, Jonathan and I own this place, so we were like, we're obviously down to work for free. Tessa, you know, she was down to take an extraordinary pay cut to just be paid with money we were actually saving up for a croissant machine, a laminator. So we decided that weekend we would do 2 days, 2 mornings of a biscuit window. And I took some time to build, actually one of my managers, Kelly, she helped me build the initial website page because there was just like no time, but we built a website page on our website so that people could pre-order and tell us what time they were coming, because I learned from the Bodega, you know, we do not need to be forming, you know, instigating any kind of line formation outside of the restaurant. So by them being able to have that option and then telling us in advance, I mean, there was a lot of wins to it, because, you know, people would feel safe, which is really important to me. But then we would kind of know in advance what we were going to sell. So instead of just hoping and praying somebody's going to call us or come up to the restaurant and maybe order takeout, at least we knew we're going to sell 40 sandwiches of this variety to be picked up at whatever time. And it went so well that we did it again the following weekend. And so since then, we've had to kind of buy a few things like on the credit card, like buy food products and things like that. But ultimately, each of our window events, as I've been calling them, it's been an opportunity for us to go through. It's kind of like going through your freezer at home and whatever else that, you know, people are at home are doing. You know, they're going through their cupboards, and we're just trying to be resourceful and not spend more than we can't spend, but to create things at a very limited resources. And the people themselves, you know, even my staff, you know, they're not being paid to work, but, you know, they've been volunteering to come because all they want is for the restaurants to have a fighting chance to reopen again so that they can return to their jobs. And a lot of my employees from the other restaurant, they've been with me since 2016. So they are my family. And so it's a lot of them have been coming actually to All Day Baby to sort of just offer us another pair of hands. My staff at All Day Baby, I mean, they're delightful. They are such an incredible group. And, you know, I just wanted to make sure that they all got into their unemployment systems and all of that, which they have, and they're making an extraordinary amount of money now. Thank you, Governor. And anyway, we'll see if they come back to work.
Yeah. And then so this will actually air, this episode will air after Mother's Day, because I know you guys are doing a pop-up for Mother's Day event, but are you going to be doing anything for like Memorial Day in a couple of weeks? Can anyone get food for Memorial Day, ribs or anything like that? I thought I saw something on your website.
No, you know, we're honestly planning these only a few days in advance. And even this sale that's actually the Saturday before Mother's Day, it's not necessarily a Mother's Day sale, because I think there are plenty of people that are doing that. I think Mother's Day is, actually, I don't know enough about Mother's Day. I just understand that brunch is a big deal, and we're not open for brunch. And but we're very inclusive. So as much as I love to, you know, put a spotlight on a group of people as extraordinary as mothers, to me, it singles out a single person like myself, or, you know, all of the single men that come up to the window, and, you know, and all the people that are quarantined by themselves. Like, it doesn't make sense for them to buy $100 4-person meal So I feel that our windows are really catered to anybody. It is that one person. It could even be a vegetarian that has no interest in any of the barbecue, but they will get all the desserts and all the cocktails or all the sauces. I mean, I don't care what they get, like as long as they are happy with their purchases, but I'm not going to get you stuck into this weird place of like a salad, a protein, a dessert thing, and then a bottle of wine, and I'm going to charge you $75 per person. So, but to answer your question, I don't know. I mean, we're now kind of under a certain amount of pressure to plan what a reopening strategy would look like, a true reopening. So I'm a little bit buried since I'm just kind of a team of one managing those types of things. Chef and I are just trying to figure out what are the proper next steps, because these windows are the best part of my weeks. So we try to do 1 to 3 days worth of these windows, but this week, this is the only day that we're doing. It's just, it does take a lot of work to do as one person, and I'm not even the chef. I'm not the two chefs like working very hard at creating the actual food that people are going to enjoy. These barbecue items, it wasn't like we just butchered the meat and it was done. It was it took hours and days in our smoker, and to pre-package them and to create the sauces. It's a lot of time for one person. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be something. It kind of just depends. I'm watching the news as closely as everyone else is, and I'm trying to forecast what makes sense ahead of time, but not that ahead.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of just thinking that same thing with their business, because now, we're doing this interview, we're in the first week of May, and of course, all those lovely economic numbers came out today, May 8th. And so everyone's hoping week by week, these, phase 2 is starting tomorrow, and what the latter half of phase 2 will go into, and kind of what everything's going to look like. And everyone's trying to project just how many people are going to come out, et cetera. What is the most likely scenario for your restaurant for dine-in, even the carry-out, for when that does come back? How, with the social distancing, or to the waiters that come back, or the bartenders, have you had any ideas of how you could make that a fun environment, a fun experience, to kind of make fun of that in some way, to keep it, lighthearted?
I mean, the windows, I will say, are really fun. And it's such a small window of time that I have to, in my opinion, create a moment with a guest. Recognizing guests with their masks on is a whole other thing, right. But it can be done. And I have truly been honored, and I enjoy sort of the regulars that are coming back, because that is really who we're catering to. And that's actually why I choose to bring variety to the menus of the windows versus just biscuit window, biscuit window, biscuit window, because there's only so many biscuits one person can have. And, and if I do believe in the importance of regulars and catering to them, it doesn't make sense. But I think what reopening is only possible for me is if we can rehire staff, because I can't reopen any more than what we are currently doing without help. And in order to have staff, we need the money. And so perhaps the only option in that department is we are reliant on the loans that everyone is learning about through the CARES Act and the Paycheck Protection Program. Mm-hmm. So I have applied for loans for both restaurants. Right. I know that I've been approved for both restaurants. Mm-hmm. So the funding is on the way. And it's a little bittersweet, because of course, funding is great. It's meant to help small businesses like us. Unfortunately, there are details which we don't need to get into that are not the best suited for restaurants, but we're going to just have to make do if that's what we decide. If we decide to sort of keep this funding and open, but there's just lots of things about it that don't make sense. And for restaurants right now, for dine-in service, it is of my opinion that it's too soon to imagine reopening, putting bodies in here that work here, and imagining bodies to come in here that want to pay money to sit in a modified environment. I think it's an over projection. in my opinion. So it will be done, and I will do it if it's an option made to me, and I will probably do my best to figure out a creative manner and to do that. But at All Day Baby, we will focus on to go. We will really master that and really help figure out a good way, a menu that I think we can manage, that we think, you know, won't inspire too much waste. But it's, if we are reliant on the loan, it's an 8-week period of time that you have to spend this money as well. And for it to be entirely forgivable, it's mainly for the staff. We don't need to hire 65 people. 65 people are not even allowed in the building. So there are a lot of issues that I'm sort of navigating throughout. But I think right now to go is decently okay to work with the public. You know, not even everyone is okay with it. So, you know, everything is shrinking, and this is quite odd and uncertain for most people. So while I appreciate everybody wondering and asking, and all the news articles that are being written about what reopening is going to look like, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's so loud.
It's an active. So you're doing a window today, and I know this interview we're doing, a lot of people will be seeing over this weekend. What's happening, you know, the second week of May, third week of May, that you could tell anyone? I know you're, you know, kind of just going week by week, but next week, what's the plan?
I don't know. Like I said, I was not lying to you. We don't have money to, it's challenging to talk about, because obviously I know you guys want to come and support us, but I think what's so special about most of our guests is that they're happy to not know. I think that life has dwindled down to this really strange place where, instead of calling it uncertainty, I think what we do is just we offer surprise. And you don't need to know everything, and because we certainly don't know everything, and we just kind of have to use what we have and figure out, you know, appropriate window events that way. So I'm not sure.
People can follow you guys on Instagram, right? Where that's where you announce these pop-ups and these events that you have them. And then you also, I know you have merchandise on your website. Are you still selling the merchandise? The hoodie? Okay.
Yeah, we have really soft, lovely hoodie sweatshirts for both restaurants, and we have t-shirts as well.
Great.
Very cool.
Wonderful. Well, we really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being interested in all of our small businesses out here.
And we're looking forward to, you know, one of the benefits I was saying before we did the interview is this pandemic to me is just helped me be more aware of more small businesses and restaurants in and around the area. And we're excited to stop by very soon.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, good luck and be well and be safe.
Thank you. You both too. Bye.
Bye.